Good morning, students. Welcome you all to the second session of the lesson Power Sharing, Class 10 Political Science. So once again I repeated the topics which we would be covering in this lesson is what is power sharing, case study Sri Lanka, case study Belgium, need for power sharing and forms of power sharing. In my previous segment I have already explained what is power sharing and we discussed at length about the case study of Sri Lanka. This session we would be discussing the case study of Belgium. So let's get started. Now, before we begin about the problems of Belgium and how they sorted it out, let's study about the location of Belgium and the composition of its population. Belgium is a very small nation with a population of less than 1 crore in the European continent. The population of Belgium is about half the population of Haryana. It has borders on the northern side from Netherlands, eastern side from Germany, and the southern side it borders France. Since the neighboring countries have a different language spoken into their nation, this affected the language composition of Belgium. Now, as I said that it has neighboring countries of Netherlands, France and Germany. So the side which shares the border with Netherlands, it is called as the Flemish region, and 59% of the people belong to that region and they speak Dutch. Down south bordering France, 40% of the people speak French and that region is called as the Wallonia region. Remaining 1%, that is towards the eastern side of Belgium, people speak German language. Now they have a variety of the language spoken into their country. Just like Sri Lanka, they too have different languages spoken. But how they sorted out this ethnic composition, how very sensitively Belgium sorted out the ethnic composition and shared power in such a manner that peace prevailed in this nation. There is a very unique thing in the ethnic composition of Belgium. The capital of Belgium is Brussels. Unlike the composition of the entire nation, Brussels has a different set of language composition. 80% of the population of Brussels speak French and 20% speaks Dutch. So there is a difference between the entire country's ethnic composition and the composition of the capital city. Now the tension started between two communities, the Dutch speaking which was 59% and French speaking which was 40%. The German speaking population did not get involved as they were just 1% of the entire population. The Dutch speaking community was larger in number and the French were the minority community. But in spite of being the minority community, the French community was much more richer and powerful than the Dutch community. The majority of the Dutch got the benefit of economic development. So the tension started between the Dutch speaking community and the French speaking community. The Dutch was in majority, but the French were much more richer and powerful than the majority community. Now, how did this country sort out its ethnic problem? Let's discuss that. Now, the Belgium model of power sharing is considered as one of the best forms. Reason because they included all the communities together. They gave equal importance to all the communities, unlike Sri Lanka, and came up to a acceptable situation which was acceptable to both the communities. Between 1970 and 1983, Belgium amended its constitution 4 times. Amended means they changed it. They brought about changes into the constitution about 4 times between a period of 13 years. Bringing a change in a constitution is a very big thing. And they managed to do it 4 times between the period of 1970 and 83. This was done in order to enable everyone to live together within the same country. The constitution said that the Dutch and French speaking ministers will be given equal importance in the central government. As we had already discussed, that the situation in the capital city of Belgium was different from the entire country. In entire country, Dutch was in majority, French in minority, whereas in Brussels it was the opposite. So many powers of the central government were given to the state government of both the regions, and they were not subordinate to the central government. In Brussels, they had a separate government. So there were two sets of government. There were two sets of government. In the capital, there was a separate government in which both the communities were given equal representation. Wait, it was not only two. Now they have a third set of government, which was called as the community government. This government was elected by the community people, and this government had the power regarding cultural, educational, and language related issues. So they had three sets of government, one for the entire nation, one for the capital only, and the third was the community government. Now students, I am sure you would also agree, after reading about both the models, the Belgian model and the Sri Lankan model, that the Belgian model was much better than the Sri Lankan model, as it had the policy of accommodation. It accommodated all the different ethnic people into it, and a mutually acceptable arrangement of sharing power led to peaceful existence of the Dutch and the French speaker. Now, unlike Sri Lanka, where this led to a civil war, here there was peace was established because all the communities felt that they have been given equal importance. I am sure students, by now you have understood the entire case study of Belgium, and you are in a position to compare both the countries, how they distributed their power, which one was a better one, which one was not good because the policies which that country adopted was not in favor of all the communities. So now let's discuss the question answers. Again, I repeat it. You must write these question answers into your fair notebooks. The first question: bring out any two sharp contrasts between Belgium and Sri Lankan democracies. Both the countries are democratic nation, but still very much different from each other. So just two sharp contrasts you need to state. Those of you who wish to write the answer in your own words, again I repeat it, go ahead and do write it. Others, you can copy it from this also. I have discussed the two contrasts between the Belgium and the Sri Lankan democracy with the help of 4 to 5 points. So if this question comes as a 3 marker, ensure that you are writing minimum 3 points, but those 3 points should be the important 3 points. But it generally comes as a 5 marker question. That is the reason why I have mentioned 5 points into this answer. Now next question is, explain the 3 ways by which Belgium has accommodated the existing regional differences and cultural diversity. You must mention that there were 3 kinds of government into that, and they amended their constitution 4 times in order to accommodate all the regional people into it. So they had a government for the center, they had a government for the capital city, and they had a separate government to look after their cultural aspect called as the community government. Third question for the day: how have Belgium and Sri Lanka dealt with the question of power sharing differently? Now both the countries had a different approach. Sri Lanka had the approach of majoritarianism, whereas Belgium had the approach of accommodation. Sri Lanka's approach led to civil war. Belgium's approach led to peace prevailing into the nation. So you must discuss all the points wherein both the countries were different in dealing with the concept of power sharing. Thank you, students. I hope you have understood the second session of power sharing, the case study of Belgium. Those of you who have not understood, kindly write into your comment box so that I can answer your queries. Thank you and have a nice day.